I know a lot of folks are thinking the sky is falling, certainly since Josh Allen hobbled out of Raymond James in a walking boot. And I want our eye kept on that over the next 3 hours before we hear about it. But this team that's now 7-6, because they lost for a 33rd time to Tom Brady. And in so doing, Tom Brady, remarkably, once again, with a win against the Bills, helps the Patriots, even though he's not a Patriot, because that now gives the Patriots, who are on a bye week, sitting back like Red Auerbach in a chair, lighting a cigar with their hands behind their head, feet on the desk. They now lead the AFC West East by 2. They lead the AFC East by 2 games. They're 9-4, and the Bills are 7-6, and it's really 2.5 games because they've already beaten the Bills on their home turf, as we all know. Doesn't look good for the Bills to be printing home playoff tickets. And that's not something that Bills fans thought would be the case going into the final 4 games of the longest regular season ever. Certainly not after they started 4-1 with a 4-game win streak after a difficult home loss to start the season against the Steelers. But they're 3-5 since. They're 7-6 overall. It certainly looks like the division is not going to be theirs, and they're going to have to go on the road and win playoff games. And I think they can do it. I think they can do it. And again, I know that the sky is falling on Buffalo Bills fans right now, and all I will say is this, 2 things for you. 1, you probably not have to face Tom Brady again. That's number 1.
Like ever?
Like ever again. Like ever again. I already looked it up.
Unless
next year, if it's Brady's final game of the year, final season of his career next year, if he doesn't retire this year with a second consecutive Super Bowl win. Unless, of course, they go to the Super Bowl. That's what I'm saying. It just looks like you're not going to face Brady again. The odds are you'll never see Tom Brady again.
You're assuming Brady's going to retire, Rich.
Well, yes, that's number 1. And then number two for the Buffalo Bills is maybe, just maybe, you can be the Bucs of last year. What do I mean by that? If you recall, the Bucs last year were 7-5, right around the 7-6 mark as the Bills right now. They fell to 7-5 after losing to the Kansas City Chiefs, and everybody thought, well, that's that. They just went against the team, right, in the Kansas City Chiefs, who had, gone to the last 2 Super Bowls. And the Kansas City Chiefs were your defending Super Bowl champs, right? You lost to them, so that's your measuring stick. And you're 7-6 now, and you just lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, correct? Or 7-5 they were back then. But in the second half of that game, they were on fire, weren't they? They took care of business, and Romo said maybe, just maybe, they'll see each other in the Super Bowl later on this year, and that happened to be the case, and they beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. So, what I saw out of the Bills in the second half of that game, I saw Devin Singletary run the football. Did you see that?
In the second half?
Right. I saw a running game. And I saw also Josh Allen did wind up in a walking boot with a 100-yard rushing performance. And I saw Josh Allen making some terrific throws. He found Diggs, man. He found Davis. He found Emmanuel Sanders before he went out and got hurt. He found Cole Beasley. Dawson Knox. I saw the ball spread out all over the place. And I saw the defense start making plays against Brady with, obviously, all due respect to the way the game ended. I saw some really positive things. Yes, Bills fans, I thought it was pass interference in the end zone at the end of regulation. But when the ball is thrown over the head of the play, it does give, certainly when both receiver and corner is going at it, it does, with the time left on the clock, usually wind up with the flag staying in the pocket. And in overtime, the ball that Brady threw to Evans that was pass interference, was underthrown, so Evans was trying to come back to the ball. That's usually when the flag comes out. Not making any excuses. I know Bills fans are livid today because they would have had the ball right there on the goal line. Still needed to score. Did force overtime. There are no silver linings in football, really, and there are also no moral victories. I looked in the standings. The Patriots don't have any of them, and neither do the Bills. They're still 2 behind the Patriots. But what I saw at the end of that game gives me a lot of hope for Bills Mafia, that they can make a nice little run right here. Got the quarterback to do it. Boy, do you have the quarterback to do it. Love that kid.
Something else.
Guts, moxie, whatever you want to say, howitzer of an arm, tough to put down. How many times was he gaining the edge and then getting the first down? He's just tough. And then when he keeps doing it over and over and over again, it was the first time in a long time that we saw the Bills of last year where it's like, here comes Josh Allen again. How's he going to beat us? It's like the ATM, with his arm or with his legs. He keeps running against you with his legs. It's just like, man, how do we stop him? You can't sack him. It gets the defense exasperated. He can do it. So can this offense. And running the ball helps open it up a little bit. Their final 4 games, they're home against the Carolina Panthers, who they should maul. The Panthers don't even know which way is up anymore. Even if Cam scores to start the scoring as he did again yesterday, all you got to do is just keep hanging in there and keep waiting, and they'll make the mistake, and then you'll start beating them up. That's the way the Carolina Panthers look to me right now. There's that game against New England the day after Christmas, and, that's where all the division hopes will go in. And if you lose that one and you don't win the division, you got home dates against Atlanta and the Jets to wrap it up, to say farewell to the Bills fans who you might not see again this year because you're going to start the playoffs on the road. They're going to make the playoffs, guys. They're a playoff team. I think they've got the special teams and the defense and this quarterback and this offense to do it. They're sitting there in the 7th spot right now based on the tie breaks above the Browns, Bengals, and Broncos. It's the Killer Bees right there and the wild card and sniffing it. 4 in a row at 7-6, with the Colts sitting above them at 7-6. And they're going to have to go in somewhere and win a game. And the Ravens are now banged up. Who knows where Lamar's coming back? The Titans are 9-4 thanks to that nice run that they made earlier in the season. Is Derrick Henry going to come back? And the Bills going to Tennessee and beat the Titans? Sure they can. Sure they can. Can they go into Kansas City and beat the Chiefs? They can. The Patriots are definitely the craziest one of them all. It's not over. It may feel that way. That's my message. It's not over. And what I saw at the end of that game yesterday, thought to myself, where have I seen something like this before? Oh, yes. When the Bucs lost to the defending Super Bowl champs, and we thought they were toast, and they weren't, because they went on a nice run in December, and now you've got a little bit more runway with the Jets as a nice get-right game to go into the playoffs, which you should have. They should make it. I think they're gonna. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.